Hello and welcome to the next session of the IGCSE Biology 0610 series. In this series, we will be discussing the entire syllabus topic wise. In today's lecture, we will discuss the bacterial cell, that is topic 2.1.2. In today's lecture, we will discuss about what is bacteria, what are the different structures present in the bacterial cell, and what are their functions. So let's start today's discussion. So let's first understand the term bacteria. You might have also seen the term written as bacterium. Bacterium is for single bacteria. It's a singular form and bacteria is plural. So the first thing what comes in our mind is bacteria are prokaryotes. Prokaryotes means they do not have proper nucleus. Do not have proper nucleus means they have primitive kind of nucleus. They have primitive kind of nucleus. Now what is the difference between these two terms? So if you have seen the animal cell or plant cell, animal cell or plant cell, they have proper nucleus. Why we are saying this, they have proper nucleus? Because let's suppose this is an animal cell. This is the nucleus. Nucleus is basically what? The genetic material or the chromosomes of the cell. So in plant cell or animal cell, the nucleus has a covering. The genetic material has a covering outside it for the protection of the chromosomes or DNA of the cell. This covering is called nuclear membrane, and inside this membrane or inside this covering, the genetic material, chromosomes, genetic material, or we can say chromosomes or DNA of the cell is present. Okay, this entire structure, genetic material plus nuclear membrane, makes the proper nucleus. It is present in plant cell and animal cell, and the organisms which have this exact nucleus, advanced nucleus, these organisms are categorized as eukaryotes. But in case of bacteria, let's suppose this is a bacterial cell, the genetic material, DNA or chromosome is not surrounded by nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane or outer covering is missing. So this kind of nucleus is called primitive nucleus, and these organisms or bacteria, that's why they are called as prokaryotes. Karyon word here means nucleus. Okay, so the first difference between advanced cell, what are advanced cells? Animal cell and plant cell, and the bacteria is, bacteria are prokaryotes, they have primitive nucleus, and the plants and animal cells are eukaryotes, they have proper nucleus with outer covering or nuclear membrane around it. So let's get back to the slide. The bacteria are prokaryotes. Now what is this kingdom? Entire bacterial organisms are kept under a category, different category, kingdom Monera or prokaryotes, kingdom prokaryotes. Okay. Next is bacteria are few micrometers in length. That is, they are very tiny, micro organisms that we cannot see with the naked eye. Cannot see with naked eye. Okay, they can only be seen with the help of light or electron microscope. They are very minute organisms. So the next point here is bacteria are simple unicellular organisms. Let's understand this term unicellular. Unicellular. Uni means single. Means the bacteria are single cell organisms. It's just a single cell that works as a complete organism. It's just a single cell, one cell. But if we compare it with animal or plant, we have billions of cells. Okay, billions of cells work in coordination to each other to make a complete organism. We have billions of cells in our body, but bacteria has a single cell only to work as a complete organism. So it's the basic difference between plant cell and animal cell. So we can say here plants and animals are multicellular organisms while bacteria is unicellular. So it's written here, simple unicellular organism, single cell organism that are different from other organism. These are different from plants and animals, and also they do not have nucleus. This we have discussed. So this is the simple representation of the bacterial cell. This black color, this one, it is the genetic material, strand of DNA, or we can say it's the genetic material of the bacterial cell. As we just discussed, no nucleus is present. It's just a loop of DNA within the cytoplasm. Let's see here. If this is a bacterial cell, this is genetic material. It has no covering or nuclear membrane around it, but the region in which this genetic material lies, suppose it lies in this entire area, this region is termed as nucleoid. A proper name is given to this region where the genetic material would be present, nucleoid. It's not nucleus, it's different. It's just the region of the cell. Okay, it does not have any covering, it's just the genetic material lying in the cell. Now, what is the shape of the genetic material? It's just a single chromosome. Bacteria are very tiny microorganisms, so they have just a single chromosome, one chromosome to run the entire cell. And if we compare it with animals or plants, we have many chromosomes. Like in animal or humans, we have 46 chromosomes, but the bacteria has a single chromosome only. Okay, next point is circular strand of DNA. Now, how this genetic material is lying in the cell? It is lying in a circular form. The entire single chromosome is present in the shape of a circle. It is called circular DNA. It is called circular DNA. And if we compare it with human cell, we have linear chromosomes. We do not have circular strands. We have linear chromosomes like this. You might have seen in the diagrams. We have linear chromosomes, and bacteria have circular strand of DNA. Okay. Next point here is the chromosome is not enclosed in a nuclear membrane. This we have discussed, but is coiled up to occupy part of the cell that is called nucleoid. Part of the cell means the region where the genetic material is lying, that region is called as nucleoid. Okay. Next point is cell wall. The bacteria have cell wall, but it is not made up of cellulose. Let's suppose this is the bacterial cell. This is the genetic material or the region of nucleoid. The entire cell is covered with an outer layer that is termed as cell wall. It is a hard covering and outside the cell. Cell wall is hard and protects the entire bacteria. It is made up of mixture of proteins, sugars and peptides. Proteins, sugars and peptides are collectively responsible to make the cell wall. In higher classes, you will learn that cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan or murine. This is the compound which is made up of proteins, sugars and lipids. It is termed as peptidoglycan or murine. But if we see the animal cell, does the animal cell have cell wall? No. Cell wall is absent in animal cell. Okay. Is the cell wall present in plant cell? Yes. And it is made up of cellulose. So this is the next another difference between the bacterial cell and plant cell and animal cell. Bacterial cell is made up of peptidoglycan. At your level, it is mixture of proteins, sugars and lipids. Animal cell have no cell wall, but in plants the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay. Next term is some bacterial species are surrounded by slime capsules. In this diagram, this yellow portion is cell wall. This white structure is capsule. Now what is capsule? This is cell, genetic material. This is cell wall. In some bacteria, not in all bacteria, some bacteria have another layer outside the cell wall, which is called capsule. It is a slimy layer, slimy or mucilage layer. Okay, it basically helps in protection against chemicals, protect the bacteria against chemicals. Also helps in sticking to surface. Okay, so this is outer covering capsule. It is a tough layer. It is a tough layer that helps in protection against chemicals. Okay, so we have discussed the cell wall, slime capsule. Inside the cell wall is the cytoplasm, which contain granules of glycogen, lipid and food reserves. Let's understand this. This is the bacterial cell. Bacterial cell has a ground substance, or we can say semi-fluid material that makes ground substance of the cell, and it is called cytoplasm. The entire cell is filled with cytoplasm or this ground substance. It basically provides area or surface for chemical reactions of the cell or for the functioning of the cell. This cytoplasm is covered or enclosed by a membrane which is called as cell membrane. Outside the cell membrane, we have seen that it is outer tough layer, cell wall. So inside we have cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is enclosed in a membrane that is called cell membrane. And outside the cell membrane, we have a tough layer that is called cell wall. Also, we have seen that in some bacteria, there is another layer outside the cell wall also, that is called capsule. Okay, this cell membrane is very thin layer, thin or semi-permeable layer. It allows transport of substances inside and outside of the cell. Inside the cytoplasm, in the semi-fluid material, we have different kinds of cell structures present, like ribosomes, food granules, glycogen granules. Food granules and glycogen granules are like food reserves. They help to provide energy to the cell. Next point is, some bacteria have additional loops of DNA inside their cytoplasm called plasmids. This is important point. Now what is it saying? Bacteria, we just discussed, have genetic material, but some bacteria have additional DNA other than this. This is the main genetic material of the DNA. Main genetic material. Apart from this main genetic material, some bacteria have extra chromosomes also. Extra chromosomes or extra DNA. This extra DNA is called plasmid. This plasmid is entirely different from this main genetic material. So what is the use of this plasmid? This plasmid provides some special features to the bacterial cell, like resistance against antibiotics. Okay, high fertility, a high reproduction rate. So we can say the plasmid provides these special features to the bacteria which helps in their survival. More reproduction means more number of bacteria and high rate of survival. Also resistance against antibiotics also means the survival of the bacteria against the adverse environmental conditions. So plasmid is important for bacteria. It's the extra chromosome or extra DNA present in the bacterial cell. Next, bacterial cell do not have chloroplasts or mitochondria, but they do have ribosomes. Let's understand this. This is cytoplasm. Just discuss cytoplasm have some food granules, ribosomes, but lack mitochondria and chloroplast. Now what are they? Chloroplast is basically found in plant cell. What is the function of plants? Chloroplast? Photosynthesis. Plants are able to do photosynthesis just because of the chloroplast. Do animal cell have chloroplast? Animal cell? No. Chloroplast is absent. That's why we are not able to do photosynthesis. Chloroplast is absent. Chloroplast is the primary or main cell structure responsible for photosynthesis. Okay. Now what is mitochondria? Mitochondria basically helps in energy production in the cell, and found both in plant cell and animal cell, but it is absent in bacterial cell. Bacterial cell lacks mitochondria. So which structure provides energy to the bacterial cell then? They have another cell structure called as mesosome for energy. But at your level this is not required. So just remember, the bacterial cell lack mitochondria and chloroplasts, but they have ribosomes. Ribosomes basically help in protein synthesis of the cell. Ribosomes are present in plant cell also, animal cell also, but the ribosomes of bacteria are different from plant cell and animal cell. Different type of ribosomes are present in bacteria than or as compared to plant cell or animal cell. So this is the basic difference. Next difference. Another important structure in the bacterial cell is flagella. This whip-like structure is flagella. Flagella basically helps in locomotion, mobility or movement of the bacterial cell. Through water or other fluids. Next point is bacteria are spherical, rod-shaped or spiral. Means the single cell of bacteria can be present in the form of a sphere or rod-shaped like this, or a spiral like this. Spherical, rod-shaped, spiral, and there is one another form that is comma-shaped. These are basic morphology of the bacterial cell. Can be found in short chains. Means this single bacteria can make a group with other similar kind of cells to form a chain of bacteria. Okay, or it can also form a group with similar spherical bacterial cells. Like this, we can see here, it's forming a chain of bacteria. This it means it has 4 bacterial cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Some bacteria can be in the shape of a sphere or rod or spiral. Bacteria are found everywhere in air, water, and in soil. That is, they are cosmopolitan. They are present everywhere. In extreme temperatures also, hot water springs also, high temperatures, cold ice sheets, in food, in human body. So bacteria are present everywhere. Under good conditions, bacteria may divide every 20 minutes. What does it mean? It means a single bacteria after 20 minutes, after 20 minutes becomes two bacteria. After next 20 minutes, it will form four bacteria. After next 20 minutes, it will form 8 bacteria. This mode of reproduction of the bacteria is called binary fission. Binary fission. Single bacterial cell divides from the center into two bacterial cells. And this time which it takes to divide is just 20 minutes. So it's very rapid mode of reproduction. Next is mode of nutrition in bacteria. Bacteria feed by secreting enzymes onto their food source. The food is broken down and simple sugars are absorbed. Means bacteria do not have gut or alimentary canal like the animals have. They release enzyme from their cell onto the food. Food get dissolved or broken down into simple carbohydrates or sugars, and these simple compounds are absorbed by the cell. Okay, but some bacteria are photosynthetic too. Here the bacteria is dependent on other organisms for food. But some are photosynthetic. That means they are capable of making their own food. Capable of making their own food. They are photosynthetic. Like plants. They make their own food. Plants are photosynthetic. But we animals are dependent on plants for the food. Some bacteria are photosynthetic. So do they have the chloroplast? No. They have autotrophic mode of nutrition because they have chlorophyll pigment that is different from plants, but they are able to do photosynthesis with the help of this chlorophyll pigment. So the last point is mode of survival. Bacteria produce spores within their cells to survive harsh conditions such as heat, cold, and drought. Means the bacteria, when present in unfavorable conditions or harsh environment, means there is a lack of water, absence of oxygen is not present, air is not present, then to prevent itself from dying, the bacterial cell encloses itself in a highly resistant coating, and this entire structure is called endospore or spore. It is very resistant and it can survive in this condition for months to years. until the favorable conditions revive. When the favorable conditions will occur, this endospore will break and bacteria will redivide or divide itself or reproduce. So it is a method of survival or survival strategy against harsh environment. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. Hope you will like the session. Thank you.